Hello and welcome to the program. Both Ukraine and the United States share the opinion that the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline project has political objectives and its implementation needs to be opposed. This is according to Ukrainian Ambassador in US Valeriy Chaly. The ambassador added, quote, "We will be seeing a bitter political and geopolitical struggle around this project soon. So what outcomes may this struggle have, and can this mean new Western sanctions against Russia?" To talk more about this, we welcome in our studio today Vira Konstantynova. She's a political analyst and an expert on international energy relations. Hello, thank you for joining us. So first question, of course, we're going to talk about Germany and the rapprochement between Germany and Putin. Nord Stream 2 could make Germany the bigger player, a major player on the matter of gas distribution in Europe. What keeps Angela Merkel to give a full green light to the project?
Bear in mind that Germany and Russia has rather good economic relations, but bear in mind also that there are so many projects between business circles of both countries. Anyway, bear in mind that Nord Stream 2, really, it's true, geopolitical project, because of sincere interest of Mr. Putin to have a tool to influence on German politics, and that's true. There are so many risks for them, but in any case, we should be aware that national interest of Germany is also to have more gas because of energy strategy. Natural gas is a real ecology-friendly source of energy. Thus, I could understand why Chancellor Angela Merkel is pushing this project.
But concerning Germany, there is a bit of a contradiction between its support for Ukraine and for Ukraine's political support. And in the meantime, certain big companies in Germany are saying, "Oh, yeah, we're going to continue to make this deal with Putin." What's your stance on it?
If we are looking at the arguments of both sides, for example, German side and Ukrainian one, we should find the common understanding on that this project has so many risks. But for Germany, if we compare the previous situation between Ukraine and Germany, right now, Germany helps Ukraine in many spheres, and that's true that German financial assistance and support on international area regarding the sanction regimes dedicated to the annexation of Crimea and Donbass region situation. Thus, for Ukraine, Germany is a true partner. But right now, in the context of Nord Stream 2, we saw a situation that when it comes to national interest, you should be ready to fight for them, and we should be ready to negotiate them. But we see, according to the experts, Ukrainian experts as well as American, European experts, they say that this project has no economic background because of, for example, the capacity of Nord Stream 1 is not full operated, only 80% according to the data of Nord Stream 1 AG company, operator. But at the same time, we should understand that Nord Stream 2 also it's a challenge not only within the context of energy security of Europe. It's a challenge even within the context of national security of Germany, of Ukraine, of Poland, and the Central European states as well, because it would let Russian business, Russian oligarchs to influence on elections, to influence on public opinion, and have financial tools of influence.
Now, that's interesting that you raised the idea of Central Europe and the neighbors of Ukraine here, because recently there was an opening of a new branch of Turkstream in Bulgaria. So this recent opening of this new branch is yet another hit at Ukraine's position in this market. How can Ukraine weigh on its neighbors to say to them, guys, don't do it?
No, when it comes to national interest, as I have already said, Ukraine, we are ready for fighting for national interest. But at the same time, we should understand the national interest of each key partner. If we remember the situation with South Stream, then Bulgaria have to reject it because of strong influence of the European Commission, and South Stream was a contradiction project because of third energy package and the requirements of energy union that was created in 2011. Thus, if bear in mind Turkish Stream and Nord Stream 2, we should understand that these projects are have only one goal: to bypass Ukraine. Thus, for Russians, if we remember the situation with South Stream, they have already invested some funds, some money, and then they just cut the pipelines when the project was postponed. For us, for Ukrainian part, for Ukrainian side, we should be aware and understand the national interest of Bulgaria. They also need some gas for their economy, but at the same time, Ukrainian route is. Expert says that it's only one way to ensure energy security of Europe. Including Bulgarian energy security, including Polish energy security, because as you know, Poland is also the transit route for Europe.
So he's also reluctant to,
yes,
for the Nord Stream project.
That's why Poland also undertakes some measures, political measures to influence on this project, I mean Nord Stream 2.
Now, still talking about Nord Stream 2, but on a northern level, Sweden recently accepted Nord Stream 2 to be open near its coast, reluctantly, as the Swedish Minister of Entrepreneurship and Innovation said that he could just, quote, not reject the project. How to stop Russia's blackmail here?
You know, it's an interesting situation because not only Sweden, but also Finland, they had to give permissions to the Russian company. Only Denmark rejects, but not rejects. They don't have any answers to Russians dedicated to the Nord Stream 2 project. But you know, the Russian side has alternative route to build Nord Stream. Not directly through the Danish waters, but through the international waters. Thus, they don't need, they wouldn't need permissions. As I know, there are already some developments in the context of pipelines in Germany side, and some experts said that the only way to stop the Nord Stream 2, it's sanctions. Sanctions has already announced by the United States, but we should understand that bureaucratic procedure, they take a long time.
Which brings me to the next question: do they work?
Yes, of course, because of, you know, there are so many reports that said Russians, they need international technologies. Thus, if you would impose sanctions on some particular aspects of technology or whatever companies that could provide services on with these regards, you would have an impact on Russian economy. As I know, there are so many programs within the Russian economy try to mitigate the influence of international technologies as well as in energy complex of Russia, as well as, for example, in international projects as Nord Stream or Turkish Stream, whatever.
So we talked earlier in the interview about the political impact of Nord Stream. Recently, Guy Verhofstadt called certain illiberal societies in Europe, i.e. Hungary, i.e. Austria is becoming one, and Italy, as the fifth column of Vladimir Putin. How can these countries, how can this diagonal of illiberal societies in the center of Europe help Mr. Putin? How can it open its door to that kind of project and support and really lift sanctions over Russia?
You know, when we are talking about the political systems. Within each country, there are some political influences, elements that could be destructive within the context of development. But in the context of Austria, for example, they have national interest also. They have an energy hub. For them, it's a great opportunity to increase their influence within the European energy market. But at the same time, they have third energy package, they have energy union, the obligation of which they should follow. At the same time, if bear in mind the situation with different European states, with the political influence of Russian capital on political elites, we should be pragmatic and reapproaching in the context of business ties. We should develop business negotiations, business ties with key partners of Ukraine, for example, in Austria, for example, with Germany. We should develop the economic benefits for both states. Maybe it would be a great opportunity to say that Germany and Ukraine have so many common projects, and it would be a very great successful story in the context of energy security, energy efficiency, green energy. Ukraine, as you probably know, Ukraine has set a very ambitious goal dedicated to renewable energy resources, green energy within its energy mix up to 2035 to have at least 25%. Thus, it's very important message to the international partners, international investors, that Ukraine has unique opportunities to develop this sector of economy, of energy mix. Thus, I hope we would have a conclusion. But in the context of Nord Stream, I should say that right now it would be a very important period of the negotiations, trilateral negotiations as well, between Naftogaz, Gazprom and European Commission. Thus we would see how it would work in the nearest future.
So to conclude this interview, realistically, do you see it build or not, more or less?
You know, there are so many different political views, and expert views as well, because someone says that Nord Stream 2 is already reality. That the question is how Ukraine should react, how Ukraine should find its place as a transit country. And at the same time, there are some experts that say that it's possible to stop this project. You know, according to my personal point of view, we should fight, and then we would see how it would work in the future.
Well, thank you for this overview. It was a pleasure to have you in the studio today.
Thank you.
That was Vira Konstantynova, political analyst and an expert on international energy relations. Thank you for watching the program. Stay tuned for the rest.